Joining us this morning, letting you know that this webinar is being recorded. And we want to welcome you to the sixth webinar in our 2021 Workforce and Retention webinar series, brought to you by South Carolina Department of Commerce. And today we're featuring South Carolina Manufacturing Extension Partnership, better known as SCMEP. My name is Sonia Barkley, and I am your moderator for today. And I am also the Small Business Outreach Manager here at South Carolina Department of Commerce. On the next slide, you will see some of the webinar housekeeping rules that we have for today. And just want to let you know that this webinar is being recorded. All participants are muted and cameras are off. And we ask that you use the chat feature to submit your questions, and they will be answered at the end of the presentation. At the end, a copy of the webinar recording will be sent to you along with slides and any other additional documentation, and they'll be sent to you by email along with a brief survey asking you just 3 short questions regarding the webinar and some things that you may like to see, some topics you'd like to see in the future. So why is Commerce doing this today and why are we here? Well, earlier this year, over 2,000 companies received a Commerce survey to get feedback about connections made to help their businesses. We wanted to know, did they get the help that they needed from those connections? And what was the impact of those connections on their businesses? One part of the survey asked business owners to identify the 3 most important strategic opportunities or challenges that they had with their company. And employee recruitment and retention was number 1. So here we are today with monthly webinars that will highlight additional workforce resources and options that you have as business owners. Today's webinar is our 6th in the webinar series, and in a few minutes, we will hear from Rhonda Huskins of SCMEP, and she will share workforce recruitment resources and information that can help set your company apart from the crowd. Thanks to everyone for joining us today, and welcome. Before Rhonda comes, let's take a look at the chart on the next slide. Let's just see who's here today. This chart gives you a snapshot of industries represented on today's webinar, and it also tells the story of how South Carolina businesses share some of the same needs and concerns when it comes to workforce and retention. You can see from the chart that manufacturing, retail, and IT services all share the same challenges to some degree. Now, your go-to for your staffing needs is still workforce development, still SC Do, SC Works, and all the other SC programs that offer workforce and retention support. This webinar series was designed to introduce other workforce or staffing options that may be unfamiliar to you. For some, SCMEP is unfamiliar, but we have Ms. Rhonda Huskins here today to tell you more about SCMEP and their offerings. But first, I would like to introduce Rhonda to you. Rhonda Huskins is a Regional Vice President for the South Carolina Manufacturing Extension Partnership, SCMEP, where she performs operations, assessments, and manages projects. A degreed industrial engineer, Rhonda has over 20 years of manufacturing and senior engineering experience. Rhonda's work experience emphasized process improvement, capital equipment justification, project and technical management, and lean manufacturing implementation. Since joining SCMEP, Rhonda has become a NIST MEP certified instructor of lean manufacturing techniques, a 6 Sigma Green Belt, and a professional business advisor through MEP University. Rhonda has successfully assisted companies of all sizes to strategically improve profitability, employee retention, and sales by using solutions that bring the best impacts to her clients' businesses. Rhonda is up next, and I encourage you to ask questions and later make an appointment to speak with her to discuss how you can take advantage of the programs offered by SCMEP. So at this time, we will turn the webinar over to Rhonda. I know you joined to listen to her and not to me. Rhonda, you're up.
All righty. Thank you, Sonia. I've got to do some screen sharing here, and this will take me a minute. Hang on. Whoop, wrong button. Let me get back where I need to be right quick before I share. And this is never, for some reason, this is never simple. And I may have to do it more than once to get to the right screen. Oh, there's my video. I just want to say hi. I see some names on there I recognize. It's good to see you again. And if you look at that picture of me on my Zoom and say, boy, she doesn't look that young, I'm not. But I'm taking a clue from one of my clients I met with yesterday. He's 70, and I declare his employee badge looks like he's 40. And I thought, I love that. I'm going to do the same thing. So anyhow, but I'm going to get my presentation up and then we will go. And I'm on the wrong slide. There we go. That's the one I want to be on. And then let me get the slide presentation going. Yeah. I've got to kill the camera here. I need three screens to do this, not just one. It won't let me. Okay, well, I'm just going to run with it then. Which, do you see the notes page or the full slide presentation? I can't tell what you're seeing. Are you seeing anything? Somebody, anybody, tell me what you see. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, okay, great. All righty. Hang on, that may not be what I wanted to do. Okay, if you can see the maximizing recruitment, that's your full screen. Give me a thumbs up, somebody, anybody. The great thing about Zoom is that we are, okay, somebody said we can see slide, PowerPoint, but not in slide. You can see the first slide, not others. Okay, great. That's what I need you to do. Because I meander from my notes. Okay, so Sonia, thank you for the introduction, and thank you everyone who joined us today. I very much appreciate the fact that you are here, and I'm not going to waste a lot of time. We'll just jump in and get started. How's that? First, a few words from my sponsor. I do work for the South Carolina Manufacturing Extension Partnership. I have been here, as Sonia said, over 20 years now, and we are a nonprofit organization. In a nutshell, we do consulting and training. We are part of the federally sponsored NIST MEP program. NIST is the National Institute for Standards and Technology. It is the kind of the technology leader in the nation under the U.S. Department of Commerce. Our organization was founded in 1989 by Senator Fritz Hollings, and there's an MEP in every state. So if you've got sister organizations in other states, there's actually an MEP center there. You can go to the NIST webpage. I think it's nist.gov, and you can actually look that up. But what we do is assessments, consulting, and training. We do focus primarily on manufacturing, though the tools that I'm going to be talking about, apply anywhere. And as far as training, we do that in your facility. We do open enrollments, and we have online classes. Some are live and some are self-paced. But what we really do is drive impact to our clients. So Sonia used the word impact, and as she was introducing what they do, and the reality is it doesn't matter what Commerce is working on or what we're working on. If we're not making a difference to the companies that we're serving, then we're not really doing anything. And so the key is, how are we impacting the way you do business and the results you get from your business? So we drive impact to our clients through our consulting and training efforts. In 2020, over $3 billion was reported independently by our clients as far as the impact that we had in their business. And that includes things like increased sales, increased investment in their business, adding jobs and saving money, or avoiding cost where they could. So the title of my presentation is Maximizing Recruitment and Retention Efforts. And we're going to talk about taking a systems approach. And systems is the key word here. Keep that in mind as we move forward. But for now, let's talk about what's going on in the business world. This about sums it up. Everywhere I go, small businesses, large businesses, fast food, service, government, and industry, the problem is widespread and it does not show signs of improving. We could talk about the many factors that seem to contribute to the problem. Got into the conversation with somebody at dinner last night, and I'm like, all we can do is guess. I don't think there's one reason why we're here. I think it is a perfect storm of a lot of things. But if we get into trying to hash that out, quite frankly, we'd be here all day and we would probably just leave more frustrated than when we came. But what I'm finding is, regardless of size or location, from the affluent areas like Greenville, Columbia, and Charleston to our most rural counties, and I work in some of the very rural counties as well, most companies have this one thing in common, and that is workforce challenges. Human resource teams are trying anything and everything they can think of to address the problem. Everyone's trying to compete on the same things, like wages and benefits. Some have thrown in flexible scheduling. Others have added sign-on bonuses and retention bonuses or attendance bonuses. True story, one of my clients tried a drawing offering a new car for folks who had 3 months perfect attendance. 3 months perfect attendance, your name goes in the drawing for a free car. 6 months in, not one name was in the hat. That blew me away. And they have over 1,000 employees. So a lot of people had an opportunity to win a car, and it wouldn't be that hard to do. But the pressure to stabilize the workforce, along with this heartburn and the headaches and the sleepless nights, have primarily come to roost in the HR department because everybody kind of sees HR as the ones who should be able to figure out what to do in order to get different results. If your organization doesn't have HR, then there's a chance you're here today because this bird's landed on your desk. If you are recruiting, the expectation is that you can sort through that diminishing haystack of live bodies and pull out some superstars who show up every day, have a great attitude, and perform quality work.
Rhonda,
yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to make sure, because we're still looking at the very first title slide.
They're not progressing?
They're not advancing. No, ma'am. They're not progressing.
Thank you.
And we do see the on the left side, I guess, all your other slides that will be coming up. So we're not getting the full view of a single slide.
Okay. See, all I can see is my presentation slide and then my notes slides. So let me figure out. We should have played with this prior to people getting online. So I'm going to stop the share.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do a new share. I am so sorry, everybody. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's the one I need to share.
Okay, so we do see a full screen now, and it says,
you got a man?
Yeah, with heartburn and headaches and sleepless nights.
Okay, so let me get back to what I want on my screen and see if I can, but see, now they're not synced up. I'm sure we have people in the galley who are experts at this. Okay, now I'm going to go back a slide.
Okay, we are hiring.
Okay, that's the face of HR today. Okay.
There we go. So now we are hiring. Yep. Okay,
this is where I was. Talking about trying to get those warm bodies out of the haystack.
Thank you.
And I was going to say, if you feel the pressure of trying to find those superstars in the haystack, give us a thumbs up in the emotional response. The hard part about Zoom is I can't see your faces and I can't ask questions and get feedback. But to this point, I was recently doing an assessment, and a supervisor just point blank said to me, he said, well, if they would just hire the right people, we'd be okay. And I'm just thinking, if it was only that easy, if only they could just hire the right people. And that is the attitude of a lot of folks that aren't in the hiring position, but they're trying to make an operation run with who they get. So the challenges that companies are facing are both strategic and operational. They're strategic as in they can't find good people. A lot of companies now have aging workforces. I go into companies that are 40 years old and they've got folks that have been there nearly 40 years. Succession planning is a problem. A lot of times the culture is just ineffective, and retraining is a challenge, especially when you're shorthanded to begin with, right? You may have people that could advance if you had time or the people to train them, or could take them off their job and take time to train them. Organizational challenges include high turnover, of course, lacking of soft skills. I hear that a lot. It's hard to train. You can't train fast enough. And let's be honest, training often yields inconsistent results. And technical skill levels are lacking. In addition, leadership skills are poor. When I came into industry 40 years ago, I was stunned at the fact that we have people in supervisory positions who've never been trained to supervise. They may have known their job, but they never were trained to deal with people. And sadly, that's not really gained a lot of ground in all those years. But if these challenges resonate with you, I won't even ask for a thumbs up this time. I do think it resonates with most companies. So if companies weren't losing folks, then there would be a lot less of a problem, right? So let's talk about why people stay. Typically, only 10% of survey respondents report that an increase in pay will affect their retention. This is not to say that employees do not feel that salary and benefits are important, because they do. But what the surveys reveal is that good work relationships and a good work environment are critical to keeping the employees productive and happy. Think about what's driven you to change jobs. Was it always money? Probably not. I'm sure some of you are shaking your head no. I know someone personally that has had multiple folks try to recruit him away from his current job. One offer was characterized as, quote unquote, insane amount of money. And he said they threw everything but the kitchen sink at me to get me to leave. But he refused to leave. So why do people stay? When someone has a job they enjoy, a company they love, and leadership they trust, they typically don't leave. And when they do, it's rarely because of money. It's usually something else driving that. So you're wondering what I'm going to say, that what I'm going to say that's different from what you've already heard. I'm actually here to address a question. What if we took a systems approach? What if we didn't look at it as a recruitment problem that everybody just blamed on HR? What if all the components of the system that make up the heart of your organization were committed to solving this problem? Now, there are a lot of pieces and several components under each of those pieces. And this puzzle here is just a sampling. It's not everything. But the problem's not going to be solved with just recruitment efforts. The goal is to become a talent magnet, a place where employees want to be, a place that draws people to your postings and to your companies. Help wanted signs are everywhere, and they're boasting pay rates and benefits. I even saw one that was touting how cool their products are. But I recently met with a local business manager who wasn't having problems with recruitment or retention. And I was a little surprised because I hear it everywhere I go. And I said, well, what's your entry level wage? Well, it was $3 less than what their business park neighbor was paying, because I drove by that sign on my way into the business park. And I pointed out the pay difference, and I said, what's your secret? What makes you different? And this is word for word what he said. Well, maybe it's because we're awesome. Well, I had to get the definition of awesome, of course. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And so he went on to explain that not only did they have a great onboarding program, they had excellent training, and that they had intentionally worked on their company culture. And he also said that their employees refer family and friends. And this is from a company paying $3 less an hour than the company down the street. Well, as I got to know them, I found out that this excellent training program was actually developed on the night shift by one of their supervisors, because night shift's typically a little bit slower. He took the initiative to start videotaping training and setting up training videos for the company. And this was his initiative to do that. But he said, hey, I'm on third shift or night shift. He said, I've got the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night. So everybody starts here because this is the least desirable shift. And he said, I was doing all the training. I was trying to make it easier for me and easier for everybody else. And it's really paying off for the company. This wasn't some big company promotion or a big incentive. This was just something he thought would make his job easier, and it's paying great benefits to the company. So to start transforming your organization into a magnet that attracts talent, everyone needs to get on board and become committed to the success of each employee. And this includes not only human resource department, but the management team, the trainers, the supervisors, and even the other employees. Have you ever started a new job where on day one you were told that they were committed to your success? You don't hear that very often. And I did once 23 years ago, and I still work here. On the very first day, the manager looked me in the eye and told me they were committed to helping me succeed here. They said I would have every tool I needed and not to hesitate to ask for help. I had never heard that anywhere I'd ever worked before, and I'd had several job changes before coming to the MEP, but the manager set the stage, and better yet, it was backed up with action. Companies need to develop the culture where they can make that promise and be confident that their team are going to back it up. So have you considered that improvement on the inside can affect the perception of the company on the outside, which will affect the people who show up looking for a job? It is absolutely true. Think about the elements of each of these. Employees are more likely to stay with a company where leadership is committed to their success. Training is effective. Expectations are clear. You know, it's just like raising children. If you set really good boundaries and they know what the expectations are, they have a higher sense of security because they know what's expected of them. Not that they never break a rule, and grown-up kids break rules too, but it gives them a clear objective of what they need to be working toward, and they always know where they stand. It's very powerful. Everyone then is held accountable, which is also very important, and policies are fairly and consistently applied. And to jump on just one of those puzzle pieces for a minute, your current employees are some of your best advertising. Good or bad, you can bet they're talking about where they work. So are your employees saying good things about where they work, or are they saying bad things about where they work? It's very important because it affects who applies in the future. So my first question is, how are you building pride in your employees about your product or your service? Does your product or service go into or do something cool or unique, or does it defend the country, or does it save the planet? Is there any good thing about it that you can talk about? Better yet, can your employees talk intelligently about how your product or service benefits the end users? It's very important. Number two, do you have any real life success stories under your roof? Are there employees in leadership and management who came in as an hourly employee at entry-level wages? Are you publicizing those? How about putting their story in a couple of paragraphs and getting it out on LinkedIn and Facebook, and see if your employees will share it? Stories like this are a testimony to a company who recognizes talent and doesn't hesitate to develop their employees. Others see that and think that maybe one day something like that can happen to me. It gives them hope. And this is only one tiny instance where we need to be rethinking what we do. Getting back to the systems approach, here are some objectives to work toward. And I know that you won't be getting a copy of the slides, but I understand this presentation is going to be posted that you can go back to, so you can go back and pull this information, but it's good to have. So one is mission, vision, and values. Everyone needs to understand who the company aspires to be. Employees are valued. They're provided with a safe working environment, and they're heard, right? A solid approach to attracting and retaining talent. I mean, you've got to have a solid approach that's repeatable instead of just the shotgun thing. And then structured onboarding and effective job training, because that results in more stability and work-life balance. It also includes an orientation to the company culture, practices, and performance metrics. A lot of companies do an orientation to the company. This is who we are. This is what we do. We've got locations in so many cities or states or countries, but orienting people to the culture, the practices, and the performance metrics is really important. Development and career paths help employees reach their potential. And sometimes that potential isn't even working for you. And so you would ask the question, why would we do that? Why would we develop them to leave us? Well, if you haven't yet seen the commercial, go to YouTube and search for the Amazon commercial called Meet Ernesto. I've seen it several times on TV, but Ernesto tells a heartfelt story about how, after losing both his mother and brother to illness, he decided he wanted to become a nurse. Amazon helped him with training and tuition, and he is now a medical assistant. Now, that commercial, on one way, has nothing to do with working for Amazon, but in another way, it's got everything to do with working for Amazon. Who doesn't want to work for a company who cares about them as an individual, who cares about their dreams and aspirations? A company who realizes that we may only get 3 years out of Ernesto, but he'll work with gratitude because he knows we care. And let's be honest, most companies would gladly trade 3 years of gratitude for a revolving door of employees with 6 months of poor attitude. I've not been in a company yet that would turn down somebody who actually would show up, have a good attitude, and do a good job, even if they knew that might be a short-term employee. Continuing the systems approach bullets, continuous improvement. That's working to make your company better and involving the employees in making the improvements. It gives them ownership and it lets them know that you care about making the jobs easier, making life better, those kind of things. Diversity includes ethnicity and heritage and embracing new ideas, and even ideas that challenge the status quo, in a good way, of course. Performance-based pay allows employees to plan and prepare for advancement, and it gives them hope. Frequent updates remind employees that everyone contributes to the success of the organization and that you care enough about them to let them know how the company's really doing. And an effective organizational structure with clear lines of accountability assures that each person has only one person giving them direction, not 3 people who are pulling them in different directions. So it seems daunting, and it is if you're a single person out there trying to make it happen. But a team effort will bring results. The question is, can you get your team on board? It's tough to get senior leadership to buy into new efforts, especially when everyone already has a full plate. And I kind of liken that to diet and exercise. We all know that our quality of life will improve if we make changes to our health and fitness, but it's hard to invest in something that doesn't show an immediate return. Likewise, this isn't a quick or an easy fix. It'll take some time and dedication to improve. The good news is help is available. If you lack resources or just need help getting your management team on board, there is help. One type of assistance that is available is called Smart Talent. SCMEP is joining MEPs across the nation with a program designed to help manufacturers talent the workforce problem. And yes, I did say manufacturers, but the principles are the same regardless of the business that you're in. There is no secret sauce. The elements are those that I have been talking about. Remember that we're talking about a system approach, and the system is from before that first job posting goes out through successfully advancing seasoned employees. Even the way we post jobs out on Indeed or SC Works or LinkedIn or wherever we put those, we need to be thinking about the things that we're asking people for. So many companies will do a post for the perfect candidate with the perfect experience, and they may well miss people applying who have the skills to do the job, but just aren't the perfect candidate. And often you can get somebody that check all the boxes on the skills, but they don't have the right attitude or they don't have the right work ethic. So we need to be careful. We're not chasing people off even with what we're posting. We need to be thinking about those things. But a systems approach is from before that first post all the way through, and getting the entire operation, whatever you do, working in unity to develop a workplace that becomes a magnet that attracts talent. Taking a systems approach has benefits for the employee. It helps with improved job environment, skill acquisition, advancement opportunities, those kind of things. The benefits for the company include lower operating costs, predictability. Think about predictability. If you knew you could count on things happening a certain way, ideally right, every time, and you could plan for how much time work was going to take and how many people we needed to staff. That predictability comes with stabilization of your workforce and good training and highly skilled people, right? So, lowering your operating costs, increasing your predictability and the ability to attract talent. And then the community benefits as well, as the company favorably affects the community by being a great corporate citizen. Now, do you think your management team would be interested in an initiative that delivered results like these? Operating cost reductions are due to improvements in productivity, quality of work, safety, and training. Growth opportunities due to increases in skills, innovation, employee engagement, and accountability. If company leadership is willing to take a strategic approach, these impacts should strike a chord with them. It should be music to their ears that we can actually turn this organization into a place that is really high performing. So SCMEP has an introduction planned in the form of a cohort workshop, and it's designed to introduce not just human resource folks, but management team members to the idea of a systems approach to solving the workforce problem. They'll go into a whole lot more detail than I was able to do in 30 minutes today. There are 2 opportunities to join a cohort starting in January, and Sonia has flyers on these, and she's going to be sending them out after the session. But we're asking companies who want to participate, and it is fee-based, asking companies who want to participate to send 3 people, ideally someone from human resources and someone from senior leadership, and then a 3rd person of influence to come and learn about what are some of the things you really need to be working on to make this difference. In summary, here are some takeaways for today. The job market's getting tighter and turnover costs are going to continue to increase. You need to know the cost of your turnover and be able to work to reduce it. In the cohort, a turnover calculator will be made available to folks that participate, so you actually can key in your actual cost in recruiting and onboarding new employees, and then what you invest in them, so that you can calculate what your losses are if you have very much turnover. And it helps you to justify doing things differently by investing in different areas, because it shows that you're already spending the money. The second one, a systems approach will be required to truly impact the turnover problem. I hope that this presentation has at least expanded your thinking about the different facets of your system that affects your ability to recruit and retrain, retain, because it goes far beyond HR efforts. The Smart Talent Program can help you get a jump start on making those favorable changes. And as you implement the changes, operating costs will start to decline, while productivity and the work climate improves. And it'll be worth the effort. Thank you. I am open for questions. I'm going to stop sharing now, and I apologize for those first few slides. I couldn't tell what you were saying.
Thank you, Rhonda. And thank you so much for giving us, or giving our audience, a different perspective, and I guess a different lane to take when addressing workforce needs. So I do appreciate that. This was a little different than what we've had in the past, and it's certainly a great thing to cover at this time. It goes well with your puzzle piece that you had in one of your slides, that this is one of the pieces that we have to look at when we're addressing, or trying to address our workforce needs. We do have one question here. How big a factor is senior leadership? Oops, just got something done here. How big a factor is senior leadership in retention and becoming a magnet?
I have a saying that all problems are management problems. Not everybody appreciates that. At the end of the day, senior leadership is key in any improvement effort. And we've been in the continuous improvement and lean manufacturing game at the MEP for over 20 years, and I was actually in it long before that. And I will tell you, if senior leadership doesn't get committed, it's gonna be an uphill battle. Not saying you can't make some good change, but it's gonna be an uphill battle, because they make it and break it. They really do. If they don't support your efforts, it's gonna be a constant battle. And if you are a senior leader, really consider getting behind making serious change here.
Thanks so much, Rhonda. And thank you, Mike, for the question. Any other questions for Rhonda? Well, if not, they can come in later. We can certainly reach out to Rhonda again if you have any questions that you would like to throw her way, or you can send them my way and I make sure she can get them, but we can get your questions answered. Again, we want to thank Rhonda today for joining us and sharing some great information. I want to thank you all for joining us as well. Just want to remind you that you will get a copy of this recording along with the slides and along with any other information that Rhonda is going to provide for us later on. And don't forget to take our survey. On the next slide, you will see contact information for myself and for Dayton Ward. And Dayton is our supplier outreach program manager, and he is the manager over the Source SC program. I encourage everyone that's here today to register your company in Source SC, where you can get connected to other South Carolina companies and manufacturers and other vendors who may be able to assist you with your business. And if you're in need of a particular product or service, you can reach out to Dayton directly and he will connect you with Source SC. And when we do send out the information at the end, you will also get a link where you can go ahead and register your company in Source SC, which is our database. And it is free. Using it is free, and we have some perks to go along with it. Other than that, we have our Size Up SC platform as well. Now, that's a great platform if you're a new business starting out, or even if you're an existing business and you want to see how your business sizes up to others like yours in your city, county, or state, and even nationally. You'll be able to input your salary requirements for your employees just to see if you're paying what everyone else is paying, if you're paying above or below average, according to your area, your region, and countrywide. And you'll also be able to also see some information how you can take advantage of marketing and advertising efforts too. There's a section of Size Up SC that can help you find your customers, find your other suppliers as well. So that's a really great tool. It's a user-friendly tool. But if you have any questions, once you tap into that, you can certainly reach out to me and I'll help you. Again, that link will be provided as well at the end. And lastly, we'd like to encourage everyone to subscribe to Commerce's BizFeed newsletter and alerts. That will give you information that is very important to your business. It's a little different than the normal things that you may see as far as how to start a business, how to get your business license and such, but it will give you events and updates on different things that are happening across the state that will help your business. Again, we'd like to thank you all for joining us today. We ask that you look forward to our next webinar that's coming up. We do have another one coming on November 17th at 11 o'clock as well. And for that one, we're going to feature the U.S. Department of Labor. And we're going to have Mr. Trimble. He's going to present for us around 11 o'clock, same time on November 17th. So we'll send something out for you for that as well. So you'll have a lot of information coming your way so you can continue to join us for the webinars that we have. We have 2 more left. We'll have Mr. Trimble in November, and then again in December, we will feature Apprenticeship Carolina at that time, and you'll receive links and flyers for that too. Again, we want to thank you all for joining us today. Thank you so much, Rhonda, for sharing information with us today. Just want to check if I have any more questions before we let everyone go. And
there was one about how could people get information about Smart Talent? And I answered it into the chat, but yes, Sonia will be sending out the flyers on that.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, we're going to make sure that you get everything that you need to support your business and your workforce and retention efforts. And if you have any other questions or any other comments that you would like to send our way, please do. And just look out for the next email that will be coming your way. Again, thank you so much. And thank you, Rhonda, for joining us today and presenting some wonderful information and giving us a different perspective on our workforce and retention needs for South Carolina businesses. Thank you all and enjoy your day.